The urgent care waiting room was packed with people coughing, sniffling, and looking miserable. Anna held Lily close as they found two empty chairs in the corner. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the smell of disinfectant mixed with various medicines filled the air. It wasn't exactly a comforting place for a scared 8-year-old girl. "How long do we have to wait, Mom?" Lily asked, her voice small and tired. She had been up most of the night, unable to sleep because of the constant pain and itching in her hand. Anna looked at the crowded waiting room and then at the reception desk where a line of people still waited to check in. "I don't know, sweetheart. But we're here now, and someone is going to help us figure out what's wrong." They waited for almost 3 hours before a nurse finally called Lily's name. By then, Lily was exhausted and cranky, and Anna was fighting back her own frustration with the slow-moving system. The nurse, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes but a hurried manner, quickly took Lily's temperature and blood pressure. "So what seems to be the problem today?" the nurse asked while writing notes on her clipboard. Anna carefully unwrapped the bandage from Lily's hand to show the nurse what they were dealing with. Even Anna was shocked by how much worse it looked after just a few hours. The red area had spread even further, and the dark lines running up Lily's arm were now clearly visible and seemed to be branching out like tiny rivers under her skin. The nurse looked at Lily's hand for a moment, her expression neutral and professional. "The doctor will be with you shortly," she said before leaving them in the small examination room. Another hour passed before Dr. Williams knocked and entered the room. He was a young man who looked tired and overworked, probably dealing with dozens of patients that day already. He glanced at Lily's hand while flipping through the chart the nurse had prepared. "Looks like we have some kind of skin irritation here," he said, examining Lily's hand under the bright examination light. "Has she been playing outside recently? Any exposure to plants or insects?" Anna explained everything they had been through over the past week. The gradual worsening, the home remedies they had tried, and how Lily was now having trouble sleeping because of the pain and itching. "Well, it does look like some type of infection," Dr. Williams said after a quick examination. "I'm going to prescribe an antibiotic cream and some oral antibiotics. This should clear it up within a week or two." Anna felt a wave of relief wash over her. Finally, they had answers and a solution. The doctor wrote out the prescriptions and handed them to Anna with basic instructions about keeping the area clean and applying the medication twice, daily. If it doesn't start getting better within a few days, or if she develops a fever, bring her back, Dr. Williams said before moving on to his next patient. Anna and Lily left the urgent care center feeling hopeful for the first time in days. They stopped at the pharmacy on the way home to fill the prescriptions. The medications were expensive, more than Anna had budgeted for, but she felt it was worth every penny if it meant her daughter would finally get better. "See, baby, the doctor gave us special medicine that's going to make your hand all better," Anna told Lily as they drove home. Lily nodded, trusting her mother completely. She was tired from the long day, but felt better knowing that grown-ups were finally taking her problem seriously. That evening, Anna carefully cleaned Lily's hand and applied the antibiotic cream just as the doctor had instructed. She also gave Lily the first dose of oral antibiotics with dinner. For the first time in over a week, both mother and daughter went to bed feeling optimistic about the future, but their relief was short-lived. By the third day of treatment, it was clear that the medications weren't working. If anything, Lily's condition seemed to be getting worse. The red area had continued to spread, and now there were small bumps appearing along the dark lines that ran up her arm. Lily was also starting to feel sick in other ways. She was more tired than usual and didn't want to eat her favorite foods. "Mom, the medicine isn't working," Lily said one morning, holding up her hand with tears in her eyes. "It still hurts and itches, and now my whole arm feels funny." Anna stared at her daughter's hand in disbelief. The antibiotics should have started working by now. Instead, whatever was wrong with Lily seemed to be spreading and getting worse despite the medical treatment. She called the urgent care center to speak with Dr. Williams, but was told he was only available during his regular shifts. The nurse on the phone listened to Anna's concerns and suggested they continue with the antibiotics for the full prescribed course. "Sometimes these things take time to respond to treatment," the nurse explained. "If you're still concerned after completing the full course of antibiotics, you can always bring her back for another evaluation." but Anna's mother instincts were screaming that something wasn't right. She had been watching her daughter suffer for almost 2 weeks now, and nothing they had tried, home remedies or professional treatment, seemed to help at all. The next few days were even worse. Lily started waking up in the middle of the night, not just from itching and pain, but because she felt cold and shaky. Anna would find her daughter curled up in bed, shivering despite the warm blanket. "Mom, I don't feel good," Lily whispered one night when Anna came to check on her. "My hand hurts and itches, but now my whole body feels yucky." Anna felt Lily's forehead and was alarmed to discover that her daughter had developed a low-grade fever. This was exactly what the doctor had warned them to watch for. She gave Lily some children's fever reducer and stayed up with her for the rest of the night, monitoring her temperature and trying to keep her comfortable. The next morning, Anna called in sick to both of her jobs again. She couldn't afford to miss more work, but she also couldn't leave her daughter alone when she was clearly getting sicker. Anna spent the morning on the phone, trying to get an earlier appointment with their regular family doctor. But their office was backed up for weeks, and the receptionist explained that they could only squeeze them in for an emergency visit if Lily was experiencing life-threatening symptoms. "Is she having trouble breathing?" the receptionist asked. "Any severe allergic reactions or signs of serious illness?" Anna had to admit that while Lily was clearly unwell, she wasn't having any of the dramatic symptoms that would qualify as an emergency in medical terms. Frustrated and scared, Anna decided to take Lily back to urgent care, even though they had just been there a few days earlier. Maybe a different doctor would have different ideas about what was wrong. This time, they saw Dr. Martinez, an older woman who seemed more experienced and took more time examining Lily's hand and arm. She asked detailed questions about when the symptoms started, what treatments they had tried, and how Lily was feeling overall. "This doesn't look like a typical bacterial infection," Dr. Martinez said, frowning as she studied the pattern of red areas and dark lines on Lily's arm. "The antibiotics should have shown some improvement by now." Anna felt a chill of fear. If it wasn't a bacterial infection, what could it be? "I want to try a different approach," Dr. Martinez continued. "I'm going to prescribe a stronger antibiotic and also add an anti-inflammatory medication to help with the swelling and pain. But I'm also going to refer you to a dermatologist who specializes in unusual skin conditions." The problem was that the dermatologist had a waiting list of over a month for new patients. Dr. Martinez made some calls and managed to get them on a cancellation list, but there were no guarantees about when they might be able to get an appointment. Anna left urgent care feeling more worried than ever. They now had new medications to try, but no clear answers about what was actually wrong with her daughter. And Lily was getting sicker every day, complaining not just about her hand and arm, but about feeling tired and unwell all over. That night, as Anna watched her daughter struggle to sleep despite the new pain medications, she made a decision. She wasn't going to wait around for appointments and hope that stronger medications would magically solve the problem. Something was seriously wrong with Lily, and she needed to find someone who could figure out what it was before her daughter got even worse. The hospital corridors were dimly lit as Anna half-carried, half-supported her daughter toward the parking garage. Lily had been discharged after 2 days of IV antibiotics, but Anna could tell her daughter was still weak and tired. The doctors had said the infection was responding to treatment, but they wanted Lily to continue taking oral medications at home and return for follow-up appointments. "I just want to go home and sleep in my own bed," Lily mumbled against her mother's shoulder as they walked slowly through the automatic doors. Anna felt the cool evening air hit her face as they stepped outside. She had barely slept during their hospital stay, spending both nights in an uncomfortable chair next to Lily's bed, watching the monitors and worrying about every little change in her daughter's condition. As they approached Anna's old sedan in the parking garage, she noticed a man in an expensive suit walking quickly toward his car parked nearby. He was talking on his phone and seemed to be in a hurry, probably finishing up some important business meeting or hospital board obligation. Anna was focused on getting Lily safely into the car when her daughter suddenly stumbled and started to fall. Anna caught her, but Lily's legs seemed to give out completely, and she became a dead weight in her mother's arms. "Lily? Lily, what's wrong?" Anna asked frantically, trying to support her daughter's full weight while panic rose in her throat. Lily's eyes had rolled back slightly, and she wasn't responding to her mother's voice. Her skin felt hot and clammy at the same time, and Anna could feel her daughter's body becoming limp and heavy. The man in the suit had stopped talking on his phone and was now looking in their direction with concern. He quickly ended his call and approached them. "Is everything okay here?" he asked, his voice carrying the kind of authority that suggested he was used to taking charge of situations. "I don't know," Anna said, her voice shaking as she tried to keep Lily upright. "She was just discharged from the hospital, but something's wrong. She just collapsed." Without hesitation, the man moved to help support Lily's other side. "My name is David Thompson. I'm on the hospital board here. Let's get her back inside immediately." Anna felt a wave of relief that someone was helping, but also terror about what this meant for Lily's condition. They had just spent 2 days in the hospital, and the doctors had said she was getting better. How could she be collapsing in the parking lot? David helped Anna carry Lily back through the hospital doors, his take-charge attitude cutting through the usual bureaucratic delays. He spoke directly to the security guard at the entrance. "We need a wheelchair right now, and I want Dr. Chen paged immediately," he said firmly. "This child was just discharged, and she's having some kind of medical emergency." Within minutes, they had Lily in a wheelchair and were rushing back to the emergency department. Anna felt like she was living in a nightmare where every time she thought they were getting better, something worse happened. Dr. Chen, who had been treating Lily during her hospital stay, appeared quickly and immediately began examining her. Lily was conscious but seemed confused and disoriented, not fully understanding where she was or what was happening. "Her temperature is spiking again," Dr. Chen said after taking her vital signs. "And her blood pressure is lower than I'd like to see." Anna felt her knees go weak. "But you said the infection was getting better. You said the antibiotics were working." "Sometimes these infections can be tricky," Dr. Chen explained while nurses were already preparing to move Lily back to a hospital room. "It's possible that what we were treating was only part of the problem, or that there's a secondary infection that the first round of antibiotics didn't address." David had been standing quietly nearby, but now he stepped forward. "Dr. Chen, I want you to call in Dr. Rodriguez from Infectious Diseases. She's the best specialist we have, and I want her to look at this case personally." Anna looked at this stranger who seemed to be advocating for her daughter. "Why are you helping us?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. David's expression softened. "I have a daughter about Lily's age. I can't imagine what you're going through. But no parent should have to navigate this kind of medical crisis without proper support." Over the next few hours, Anna watched as a team of specialists examined Lily more thoroughly than anyone had before. Dr. Rodriguez, the infectious disease specialist, spent a long time studying Lily's blood test results and examining the pattern of infection on her arm. "I want to run some different tests," Dr. Rodriguez told Anna. "The pattern of symptoms and the way this infection has been behaving suggests we might be dealing with something more complex than a typical bacterial infection." Anna felt exhausted and overwhelmed by all the medical terminology and procedures, but David had stayed with them and was helping to translate what the doctors were saying into language she could understand. "What Dr. Rodriguez is saying is that they think there might be a specific type of organism causing Lily's infection that requires a different kind of treatment," David explained gently. The new test took several hours to process, during which time Lily was started on different antibiotics through an IV. Anna sat beside her daughter's bed, holding her hand and trying to stay strong even though she felt like her world was falling apart. Around midnight, Dr. Rodriguez returned with the test results. Her expression was serious but also showed a hint of relief. "We found the answer," she announced. "Lily has a parasitic infection that's quite rare, especially in this area. It's something that can mimic a bacterial infection in the early stages, which is why the previous treatments weren't effective." Anna felt a mixture of relief and fear. Relief that they finally knew what was wrong, but fear about what this meant for treatment. The good news is that now that we know what we're dealing with, We have specific medications that are very effective against this type of parasite, Dr. Rodriguez continued. The challenging news is that the treatment will take several weeks, and Lily will need to stay in the hospital for at least the first week while we monitor her response to the new medications. David, who had been quietly listening to everything, now spoke up. Doctor, I want to make sure this family has access to whatever resources they need during this treatment period. Cost should not be a factor in Lily's care. Anna looked at him in shock. I can't accept that kind of help from a stranger. We don't even know you. You're not accepting charity, David said firmly. You're accepting help from someone who believes that every child deserves the best medical care available, regardless of their family's financial situation. Over the following days, as Lily began responding to the correct treatment, Anna learned more about David's background. He was a successful businessman who had made his fortune in technology, but his real passion was ensuring that families didn't have to choose between financial security and proper medical care for their children. I've seen too many cases where treatable conditions become life-threatening simply because families can't navigate the healthcare system effectively or afford the right specialists. David explained to Anna one afternoon while they watched Lily sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks. The new treatment was working. Lily's fever had broken. The red areas on her arm were finally starting to fade, and most importantly, she was starting to act like herself again. She was asking for her favorite foods, wanting to watch cartoons, and complaining about being bored, all signs that she was truly getting better. But David's involvement didn't end with ensuring Lily got proper medical care. As he learned more about their situation, he realized that Anna's struggle to get appropriate care for her daughter was not unique. Many families faced similar challenges when dealing with complex medical conditions. This experience has opened my eyes to problems in our healthcare system that I never fully understood before, David told Anna. Meeting your family has changed my perspective on what really matters. As Lily continued to recover, David began making plans for something much bigger than just helping one family. He had seen firsthand how quickly a medical situation could become desperate when families lacked the right resources and support, and he was determined to make sure other families wouldn't have to go through what Anna and Lily had experienced. Friday morning started like any other school day, but Anna could tell something was different about Lily. Her daughter moved slowly as she got dressed, and she barely touched her breakfast. The fever had come and gone over the past few days, but today Lily looked pale and worn out in a way that made Anna's stomach twist with worry. I don't want to go to school today, Mom, Lily said quietly, holding her infected arm close to her body. The dark lines had now spread all the way up to her shoulder, and new red patches were appearing daily despite the stronger medications they had been trying. Anna knelt down to look at her daughter's face more carefully. Lily's eyes seemed dull and tired, and there were dark circles under them from too many nights of poor sleep. But Anna also knew that missing more school would create problems, and she couldn't afford to take another day off work unless it was absolutely necessary. How about this? Anna said gently. Let's try going to school, and if you still feel bad, you can call me from the nurse's office. I'll keep my phone with me all day. Lily nodded reluctantly and gathered her school supplies. Anna helped her put on a long-sleeved shirt to hide the worst of the infection from her classmates. She didn't want other kids to be scared or start asking questions that Lily couldn't answer. Anna drove Lily to school instead of making her take the bus, and she walked her daughter all the way to the classroom. Mrs. Peterson, Lily's teacher, was organizing papers at her desk when they arrived. Good morning, Lily, Mrs. Peterson said with a warm smile. But Anna noticed the teacher's expression change slightly when she really looked at Lily. Are you feeling all right today? She's been fighting a stubborn infection, Anna explained quietly. If she seems unwell during the day, please don't hesitate to call me. Mrs. Peterson nodded with understanding. She had been teaching third grade for 15 years and had seen many sick children try to push through their school day. Anna left for work feeling uneasy, but she tried to focus on her tasks at the diner. The morning rush was busy as usual, with regular customers ordering their coffee and breakfast. But Anna found herself checking her phone constantly, waiting for a call from the school. The call came at 1:30 in the afternoon. "Mrs. Rodriguez?" "This is Mrs. Peterson, Lily's teacher." The voice on the other end sounded concerned. "I think you should come pick up Lily. She's been having trouble concentrating all day and she looks quite unwell. She also seems to be running a fever again." Anna's heart sank. She told her manager she had to leave immediately and drove to the school as fast as she could safely manage. When Anna walked into the school nurse's office, she was shocked by what she saw. Lily was sitting in a chair with her head leaning against the wall, looking smaller and more fragile than Anna had ever seen her. Her face was flushed with fever, but her lips looked pale. "Oh, sweetheart," Anna said, rushing to her daughter's side. The school nurse, a no-nonsense woman named Ms. Johnson, pulled Anna aside to speak privately. "I'm concerned about Lily," Ms. Johnson said in a low voice. "Her temperature is 102 degrees and she's been complaining about feeling dizzy and nauseous. Mrs. Peterson says she could barely stay awake during reading time. This doesn't look like a simple skin infection anymore." Anna felt a chill of fear run through her body. She had been telling herself that Lily was getting better, that the new medications just needed more time to work. But seeing her daughter like this made it impossible to deny that something was very wrong. "What do you think I should do?" Anna asked, fighting back tears. "Honestly, I think you should take her to the emergency room," Ms. Johnson said. "I've seen a lot of sick kids over the years, and when they start showing signs like this, fever, fatigue, nausea, it usually means their body is fighting something serious." Anna gathered Lily's things and helped her daughter walk slowly to the car. Lily leaned heavily against her mother, as if even walking was becoming difficult. "Mom, I feel really sick," Lily whispered as Anna helped her into the passenger seat. "Not just my hand anymore. Everything hurts." As they drove toward the hospital, Anna tried to stay calm for Lily's sake, but inside she was panicking. How had things gotten so bad so quickly? Just that morning, Lily had seemed tired but basically okay. Now she could barely keep her eyes open. The hospital emergency room was busy, as it always seemed to be. Anna supported Lily as they approached the check-in desk, where a receptionist was dealing with a long line of people with various medical problems. "We need to see a doctor right away," Anna said when they finally reached the front of the line. "My daughter has a serious infection and she's running a high fever." The receptionist, a young man who looked like he had been working long shifts, barely looked up from his computer screen. "Fill out these forms and take a seat in the waiting area. Someone will call you when a room becomes available." Anna looked around the packed waiting room. Every chair seemed to be occupied, and some people were even standing against the walls. A digital sign displayed estimated wait times that made Anna's heart sink. The average wait for non-critical cases was 4 hours. 4 hours? Anna said, trying to keep her voice calm. "My daughter is really sick. She has a fever of 102 and she can barely stay awake. Ma'am, unless this is a life-threatening emergency, you'll need to wait your turn like everyone else," the receptionist said, still not making eye contact. "If you think this is truly an emergency, you can request to speak with the triage nurse." Anna felt helpless and frustrated, but she filled out the paperwork and found 2 empty chairs in the corner of the waiting room. Lily immediately curled up in her chair, resting her head against Anna's shoulder. As the hours passed, Anna watched her daughter get worse. Lily's fever seemed to be climbing higher, and she began shivering even though the waiting room was warm. She complained about feeling cold, then hot, then cold again. Her breathing seemed a little faster than normal, and she kept saying her head hurt. "Mom, I feel like I'm going to throw up," Lily whispered around the 3rd hour of waiting. Anna helped Lily to the bathroom, where her daughter was indeed sick to her stomach. When they returned to their seats, Lily looked even paler and more exhausted than before. Anna approached the reception desk again. "Please, my daughter is getting worse while we're waiting. She's throwing up now and her fever is still climbing. Can someone please look at her soon?" This time, a different person was working at the desk, an older woman who looked at Anna with more compassion. "Let me get the triage nurse to evaluate her," she said. The triage nurse, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, took one look at Lily and immediately took her temperature and blood pressure. When he saw the readings, his expression became more serious. "How long has she been like this?" he asked Anna. Anna explained the whole story. the infection that had been getting worse for weeks, the failed treatments, and how Lily had deteriorated rapidly that day. "I want to get her seen right away," the nurse said. "This level of fever combined with the other symptoms you're describing suggests this infection might be more serious than we initially thought." Within 30 minutes, they were finally in an examination room. But by then, Lily was barely responsive. She answered questions when spoken to directly, but her eyes kept closing, and she seemed confused about simple things like what day it was. Dr. Hassan, the emergency room physician, took one look at Lily's infected arm and her overall condition and immediately called for blood tests and additional examinations. "I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing here," Dr. Hassan told Anna privately while nurses were drawing blood samples from Lily. "This appears to be a systemic infection, meaning it's spread throughout her body. That's why she's so sick overall, not just at the site of the original infection." Anna felt the room spinning around her. "What does that mean? Is she going to be okay?" "We're going to do everything we can to help her," Dr. Hassan said. "But she needs immediate treatment with stronger medications than what she's been taking. We're going to admit her to the hospital tonight so we can monitor her closely and get this infection under control." As Anna watched the medical team work around her daughter, hooking up monitors and starting IV lines, she realized that their nightmare was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. 3 weeks later, Lily was finally back home and feeling like her old self again. The dark lines that had once spread up her arm were completely gone, and the red patches had faded to barely visible marks. More importantly, she was running around the apartment, playing with her toys and asking her mother 100 questions a day, just like any normal 8-year-old. Anna watched her daughter coloring at the kitchen table and felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. There had been moments during the worst days when she wondered if Lily would ever be this healthy and happy again. The specialized treatment had worked exactly as Dr. Rodriguez had promised, but it had taken time and patience to see the full results. The phone rang, interrupting Anna's thoughts. It was David Thompson. "Anna, how is Lily doing today?" David asked, his voice warm with genuine concern. "She's wonderful," Anna replied, watching Lily carefully color inside the lines of a butterfly picture. "She keeps asking when she can go back to school full-time. I think she's getting bored at home." David chuckled. "That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. Listen, I was wondering if you and Lily might be interested in attending a small gathering this weekend. There's something I'd like to show both of you." Anna was curious, but also a little cautious. David had been incredibly generous with helping them through Lily's medical crisis, but she still felt uncomfortable accepting too much from someone, even someone as kind as he had been. "What kind of gathering?" Anna asked. "It's hard to explain over the phone," David said, "but it has to do with making sure other families don't have to go through what you two experienced. Would you trust me enough to come see what I've been working on?" That Saturday, Anna and Lily drove to an address David had given them in a nicer part of town. They pulled up in front of a modern building with large windows and a small sign that read, "Family Health Advocacy Center." David met them at the front door, looking more relaxed than Anna had ever seen him. Instead of his usual business suit, he was wearing jeans and a casual shirt. "Welcome to our new center," David said, opening the door for them. "This is what you two inspired me to create." As they walked inside, Anna was amazed by what she saw. The space was designed to feel warm and welcoming, nothing like the cold, sterile feeling of most medical facilities. There were comfortable chairs, soft lighting, and even a children's play area where several kids were happily occupied with toys and books. "What is this place?" Anna asked, looking around in wonder. "This is a resource center for families dealing with complex medical situations," David explained. "We help people navigate the healthcare system, connect with the right specialists, and access treatment regardless of their financial situation." A woman approached them with a friendly smile. She introduced herself as Maria Santos, the center's director. "Anna, David has told me so much about your family's experience," Maria said. "Your story helped us understand exactly what kind of support families need when they're dealing with medical crises." Maria explained how the center worked. When families called or walked in with medical concerns, Trained advocates helped them understand their options, connected them with appropriate specialists, and guided them through insurance and financial assistance programs. We also have partnerships with hospitals throughout the region, Maria continued. Specialists like Dr. Rodriguez volunteer their time here to provide consultations for families who might not otherwise have access to their expertise. Lily had wandered over to the children's area and was playing with some other kids. Anna could hear her daughter laughing, a sound that had become precious to Anna after those scary weeks when Lily had been so sick. "David, this is incredible," Anna said. "But why? Why did you do all this?" David looked over at Lily, playing happily with the other children. "Because no parent should have to watch their child suffer while fighting bureaucracy and insurance companies. Because no 8-year-old should have to wait weeks for proper medical care because their family can't afford it." He paused, his expression becoming more serious. "And because meeting your family showed me that having money and connections shouldn't be the determining factor in whether a child gets the health care they need." Over the next hour, Anna met several other families who had been helped by the center. There was Carlos, whose teenage son had a rare autoimmune condition that had been misdiagnosed for months until the center connected them with the right specialist. There was Jennifer, a single mother like Anna, whose daughter had needed surgery that their insurance initially refused to cover. "The center advocates fought for us," Jennifer explained. "They knew exactly who to call and what paperwork to file. My daughter got her surgery and we didn't have to declare bankruptcy to pay for it." Anna felt overwhelmed by the stories she was hearing. So many families had faced situations similar to theirs, struggling to get proper care for their children while dealing with complex medical and insurance systems. David gathered everyone together in the main room for a special announcement. 6 months ago, "This center was just an idea," David began. "It became a reality because one mother refused to give up fighting for her daughter's health, even when the system seemed designed to work against her." He looked directly at Anna and Lily. "Anna, your determination and Lily's bravery showed me what was possible when people refused to accept that this is just how things work." David went on to explain that the center had already helped over 200 families in just 3 months of operation. They had partnerships with major hospitals, agreements with insurance companies to expedite approvals for complex cases, and a growing network of volunteer medical specialists. "But this is just the beginning," David continued. "We're planning to open similar centers in other cities. We want to create a network where any family, anywhere, can get the support they need to advocate for their child's health." Anna felt tears in her eyes as she listened to David's plans. The nightmare they had lived through was being transformed into hope for other families. After the presentation, Lily ran over to her mother, excited about all the new friends she had made. "Mom, can we come back here again?" Lily asked. "The other kids were telling me about fun activities they do here, and there's a lady who helps kids understand what doctors are saying." Anna looked around the center one more time, taking in the sight of families getting help, children playing safely, and volunteers working to make the healthcare system more accessible for everyone. "Yes, sweetheart, we'll definitely come back," Anna told her daughter. David approached them as they were getting ready to leave. "Anna, I have a question for you. The center needs someone who understands what families go through when they're fighting for proper medical care. Someone who's been through the system and knows where the problems are." Anna looked at him curiously. "We need a family advocate coordinator," David continued. "Someone to train our volunteers, work directly with families in crisis, and help us improve our services. Would you be interested in the position?" Anna was stunned. "David, I don't have experience in healthcare or social work." "You have something more valuable," David replied. "You have the experience of being a parent who refused to give up, even when everything seemed hopeless. That's exactly the kind of person we need leading our family support team." 3 months later, Anna was settling into her new role at the Family Health Advocacy Center. Every day brought new families seeking help. And every day, Anna was reminded of how lucky she and Lily had been to meet David at just the right moment. Lily had completely recovered from her infection and was thriving in school. She often came to the center after school, doing her homework in the children's area and chatting with other kids whose families were receiving support. One evening, As Anna was finishing up her work for the day, she watched Lily playing with a little boy whose mother was meeting with one of their medical advocates about getting treatment for a rare condition. Anna thought back to that terrifying night in the hospital parking lot when Lily had collapsed and David had appeared like an answer to a prayer. Neither of them could have imagined that their meeting would lead to something that would help hundreds of families. Sometimes the worst moments in life, Anna reflected, can become the foundation for the most meaningful changes. Lily's illness had been the scariest experience of Anna's life, but it had also led them to a purpose neither of them had ever expected, making sure other families would never have to feel as alone and helpless as they once had. The morning sun streamed through the small apartment window as 8-year-old Lily bounced around the kitchen, her backpack already strapped on for school. Like most kids her age, she was full of energy and always ready for the next adventure. Her mother, Anna, was rushing around trying to pack lunch and grab her work supplies at the same time. It was the same routine they had every weekday morning in their cozy 2-bedroom apartment. "Mom, look at this weird bump on my hand," Lily said, holding up her left hand toward her mother while Anna was busy making sandwiches. Anna glanced over quickly, barely focusing on what her daughter was showing her. Between getting ready for her morning shift at the diner and making sure Lily had everything for school, there wasn't much time to examine every little scratch or bump that kids always seem to have. "It's probably just a mosquito bite, sweetheart. You know how much those little bugs love you," Anna said with a gentle smile, ruffling her daughter's hair. "Put some of that anti-itch cream on it when you get home from school." Lily looked down at her hand again, scratching the small red spot that had appeared overnight. It didn't look like the mosquito bites she usually got during summer, but her mom seemed busy, so she didn't push the issue. She grabbed her lunchbox and headed out the door, calling goodbye as she ran to catch the school bus. The day went on as usual. Anna worked her morning shift at the local diner, serving coffee and breakfast to the regular customers who came in every day. The work was tiring, but she enjoyed chatting with people and the tips helped make ends meet. After finishing at the diner, she had a few hours before her evening shift at the grocery store. This was her life now, working 2 jobs to keep their small family afloat since her husband had left 2 years ago. When Lily came home from school, she immediately went to her mother. "Mom, my hand is still bothering me. It's getting more itchy now." Anna looked more carefully this time. The red spot had gotten a little bigger and seemed more irritated than it had that morning. She walked to the bathroom cabinet and pulled out the anti-itch cream they kept for bug bites and minor skin problems. "Here, let me put some of this on it," Anna said, gently applying the cream to her daughter's hand. "This should help with the itching. Try not to scratch it too much, okay? You don't want to make it worse." Lily nodded, trusting her mother completely. After all, moms always knew how to fix things. She went to her room to start on her homework while Anna got ready for her evening job at the grocery store. The next morning brought the same routine, but Lily seemed more restless than usual. She kept looking at her hand and scratching at it even though her mother had told her not to. "Mom, it still hurts and itches," Lily complained, holding up her hand again. Anna examined it more closely this time. The spot had definitely grown larger overnight, and there seemed to be more redness around it. She felt a small knot of worry in her stomach, but she pushed it away. Kids got bumps and scrapes all the time. It was probably nothing serious. "Let's try a different cream," Anna said, reaching for another tube from their medicine cabinet. "And maybe we should put a small bandage on it so you don't keep..." Scratching it, she carefully cleaned the area and applied a different type of anti-itch medication before covering it with a colorful bandage that had cartoon characters on it. Lily seemed satisfied with this solution and headed off to school, but the pattern continued for the next few days. Each morning, Lily would complain about her hand. Each evening, Anna would examine it, try a different home remedy, and hope it would be better by morning. The red area continued to grow slowly, and now there were thin, dark lines that seemed to be spreading up Lily's arm from the original spot. Anna found herself lying awake at night, worrying about her daughter's condition. She wanted to take Lily to see a doctor, but their insurance had a high deductible, and money was already tight with just her 2 part-time jobs. The local clinic had told her the earliest appointment for a non-emergency visit was 3 weeks away. The urgent care center would cost more money than she could spare right now, especially for what still looked like it might just be a bad insect bite. She tried calling her own mother for advice. Maybe try some baking soda paste, her mother suggested over the phone. That always worked when you were little. Or what about some ice to reduce the swelling? Anna tried every home remedy she could think of or find online. She made paste with baking soda and water. She tried ice packs wrapped in towels. She even bought some more expensive over-the-counter treatments, stretching her budget as much as she could. But nothing seemed to help, and Lily's complaints were becoming more frequent and more urgent. "Mom, my hand hurts and itches so bad I can't sleep," Lily said one evening, tears streaming down her face as she held her hand up. The area around the original spot was now clearly swollen, and the dark lines had spread further up her arm. Anna felt her heart sink as she looked at her daughter's condition. This was clearly more than just a simple bug bite, but she still didn't know what to do. She held Lily close and tried to comfort her. "I know it hurts, baby. Let's try some children's pain medicine tonight to help you sleep. And tomorrow I'll call the clinic again to see if they can see you sooner." The next day, Anna spent her lunch break on the phone with the clinic, explaining that her daughter's condition seemed to be getting worse. The receptionist was sympathetic but firm. There were simply no earlier appointments available unless it was a true emergency that required immediate attention. "Is she running a fever?" the receptionist asked. "Any difficulty breathing or signs of serious illness?" Anna had to admit that Lily seemed fine otherwise. She was eating normally, playing with her friends, and going to school every day. The only problem was this persistent issue with her hand that kept getting worse despite all of Anna's efforts to treat it at home. As the days passed, Anna watched helplessly as her daughter's condition continued to worsen. Lily was now waking up multiple times during the night, crying and asking her mother to make the pain and itching stop. The swelling in her hand was more noticeable, and the dark lines had spread even further up her arm. "Mom, please. It feels like there's something moving under my skin," Lily said one morning, her voice shaking as she looked at her hand with fear in her eyes. This was the moment Anna realized they couldn't wait any longer for a regular appointment. Something was seriously wrong, and her daughter needed medical attention right away. She called in sick to both of her jobs and prepared to take Lily to the urgent care center, regardless of the cost. Her daughter's health was more important than any financial worry. As they got ready to leave the apartment, Anna felt a mixture of relief and anxiety. Relief that they were finally going to get professional help, but anxiety about what they might discover and how much it was going to cost. She held Lily's good hand tightly as they walked to the car, promising her daughter that they were going to get answers and treatment today. Little did Anna know that this trip to urgent care would be just the beginning of a much longer and more frightening journey that would test everything she thought she knew about fighting for her child's health and navigating a complicated medical system that often seemed more concerned with paperwork than patience.